Hello and welcome everybody. I'm like this awkward pause. I was like waiting for it to tell me we were live, but now we are live. So welcome everybody to Legacy Living TV. The good looking guy in the beard that you see right here next to me is Mr. Brad. How do I say your last name?
Weglin. Weglin.
Say it again.
Weglin. Weglin.
Wait, like the past tense of wag or weg. Weglin.
Now you're just making words up, Nancy. The way I tell people, it's like weg as an egg. You eat an egg.
Weglin.
Yes.
Cool. All right, we got it. I'm really excited to introduce you guys to this powerhouse individual. Anytime I'm around Brad, I just feel called to call him boss man. Like, hey, boss man, because truly, when you hear his story, it's really fun to hear how he's stepped into this place of really being the boss of his life, to really own his life and what it is that he's creating. I'm excited to dive in and do some interviewing here with Mr. Brad. We have some super fun announcements, so stick through to the end here. I'm going to talk to you guys about how you can get some really powerful free courses. I'm going to give you access to my $3,000 program for free as a bribe. I know, right? If you wait till the end. So be sure to stick with us here. If you can only jump on for a second, come back and listen to the recording because we're going to dive into some really juicy stuff. We have an announcement about Brad and how he's going to be becoming part of the Legacy team here in Legacy Living Inner Circle and assisting us in some really cool coaching and things going on. So before we do that, Brad, please tell us a little bit about your story. Maybe just, encapsulate this last, a little bit of your life leading up to this big moment when you're like, screw this. I am the creator of my life and I'm going to really stand in my power. Over to you.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. Okay. So I have actually been studying personal transformation and, I guess any kind of personal achievement for over 20 years now. And this is something actually new to you, Nancy. You haven't heard this part of my story yet. But, throughout that 20 years, there has been this mental mind block that I have not gotten over of my self-worth and am I good enough to even get to this particular level of high vibration. I remember in 2007, one of my friends showed me that movie called The Secret. You've probably already heard of it. It's been out for quite some time. And that's kind of when some light bulbs started going off. And I had a really good year of feeling happy and being happy and living in that vibration. And then somewhere along the way that was lost. I don't know how. I don't know what happened. But it was lost for quite some time. So it kind of like put in this deep, dark hole. And I had gotten married in the years to come. It was my second marriage I'd gone through. I'm now divorced, but throughout that whole process of just really trying to find what my vibration should be and what environment I could create that would allow me to be in that vibration all the time. It took some really, really hard moments for me to go through. Losing my wife and still trying to figure out like what got me to the point where she wanted to leave me and all that kind of stuff. But in that process of getting to that point of leading up to divorce, I was super, super unhappy with myself and sad to say the word disgusted came to mind. And that manifests itself physically because I had gained so much weight. I had actually topped out at 333 pounds at one point in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
You win on that one.
333 pounds.
I hit 232 was my high. So you win.
333 pounds. And then you have people who come up to you and be like, oh, you look like you're carrying it well. I'm like, shut up. Shut up.
What does that
I hate
mean?
to hear that. Oh, you look like you're carrying it well. Come on, seriously. I'm not carrying inside. I'm carrying this burden not very well at all.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're saying, hey, Brad, you're really good at sucking at life. You're really good at hiding it.
Exactly. That was the underhanded comment or the underhanded compliment, I guess you can say that I kept repeating in my mind. And so, getting those reinforcements of that self-talk when I would hear this supposed compliment really just reinforced my loneliness, my my ability to hate myself, that sort of thing. And um, I got to, so fast forward to August 24th, 2016. Yes, it was just last year, over a little over a year ago. The one good thing I did in my life was never, ever, ever, ever give up on this study of personal transformation. So at least I kept learning about it. Even though I wasn't practicing it very well, I kept learning about it and learning about it and filling my mind with that thing. And so I never ever gave up on that possibility to make it a reality in my life permanently, because I was really good at sprinting and then giving up and then sprinting and giving up. So, but now, it's really hard to say, well, Brad, how do you know it's permanent now? You've only transformed your life in a little over less than a year. How do you know you're not going to backfall again? It's just different. It's hard to explain the feeling of knowing it's absolutely 100% permanent. So, I was listening to a mentor of mine. His name is Marshall Silver. He got his start in Las Vegas as an entertainer. He actually had this like hypnotist, magic act kind of thing going on. He's a really charismatic guy. I went to one of his seminars, 2015, but I kind of kept in touch with what he was doing. And he had this webinar system that set up where you can just pretty much log on and listen to him for free. And so he became like a virtual mentor of mine, even though I had met him in person as well. But he became this virtual mentor of mine, and I started listening to these webinars, and one day he said something that was just like, boom, light bulb went off, all the bells and whistles and everything, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop identifying as a fat person, and I'm going to start realizing that I was made to be slender. That is who I am. That is who I am identifying with. And then all of a sudden it was like, not like right away, but over the course of a couple months, that shift started to happen. Because shifts, it's like changing. The Titanic is so big, it's not just going to make a turn on a dime. Those shifts happen very slowly, but you feel them day by day, coming around. And so that's what happened. That the 24th of April 2016, I declared to the universe, I am slender, and everything's just started falling into place. Because you know what? I believed that statement 1,000%. I believed it. And that's where that story really, really began. But when I became super, super serious about the physical transformation part of it was on September 12th of 2016, that same year. So you see that gap between believing it and taking action. We just talked about this, Nancy, that void in life. So that was the gap. And then finally, it took me up until September 12th of 2016, between April and September, to actually take action, to really, really get super serious. And once I get super serious, it was like, life
I
took
want to
off.
jump in. I want to jump in here, Brad, because I love what you're saying. And this is what I really want you guys to hear out there listening in cyber world, is our core clients that we really service and bless and love on are these influencers, these powerhouses, people who are not strangers to personal development. They love it. They seek it out. They've been studying it for years. They understand the whole idea of positive psychology and affirmations. And sometimes when they hear us, and Brett, tell me if you can relate to this, they think and they discount it and think, oh, I've heard all that before. What is something new? And this is what I'm wanting to hear. For those of you who are listening, I want you to hear me in this. When you see people, and it seems like an overnight success, if you've watched Brad's transformation over the last 8 months, where he is literally like just shed weight, and not just physical weight, we're talking like mental, emotional bullshit weight. And if you've watched me go from super overweight, over 200 pounds overweight, to the skinny bikini model on stage, and that huge transformation that I've had, mind, body, and spirit, it looks like, oh my gosh, it was overnight. But what really shifted overnight is I finally took all the information and the knowledge and the wisdom I had here, and I integrated it, and I've locked it in here in my being. So what we really do here at Legacy Living, what we're all about is taking these things that you know in your head and integrating them so that you actually are implementing, you're actually breaking through in the moment, and you're shifting like crazy. It doesn't have to be this long, slow, hard process. It really doesn't. And the minute that you have that shift, just like Brad's saying, in August, he had this light bulb moment where he was like, I'm done. And a lot of the people who come to us a little bit angry. Like if you listen to Brad's story, he said he was disgusted with himself, right? Well, yeah, because you hit this point where you're like in depression and discouragement and like, oh crap. But then there's also this part of you that's like, hey, maybe it's possible. And you get online and you see people like me or you see people like Brad or other people out there, and it kind of irritates you sometimes when you see that they're successful or that they've lost weight, because it irritates you because you feel that gap inside yourself between what you know and what you're really doing and experiencing. That anger is really positive. And I'm going to turn this back over to Brad in just a second, maybe have him speak to this a little. That anger can be a moving emotion. It can be that anger that goes, I'm done settling in my life. I am done just accepting conditions as they are. I'm done being the victim. I'm done with the bullshit story, and I'm moving forward today now. People come to us in this space really ready, saying, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm ready for results, baby. Show me what to do. So back to you, Brad. Talk to us a little bit about that moment of like coming to that precipice of like, I'm done.
I think that's part of it was so impactful. I think that's a part of why I remember the date exactly, and the day I declared that change is happening. What also shifted in my mind mentally was the fact that I made a promise to myself. I was so committed. There was nothing in the entire world, no body, no thing that would stop me from achieving what I already knew the universe was sending back to me. I'm a Christian, so I use the word God. People use the word universe. Whatever it is that you identify with, it's still that divine, that higher power. It works all the same. It's the same exact thing. And so I believed in that 100% that would be sent to me because I felt worthy. I felt worthy. And right now, just saying those words, I'm feeling it, the vibration in my body right now. I mean, I wish you could see, look, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I literally have goosebumps feeling that vibration. I mean, it is just so powerful to say the words, I am worthy. And that is just so powerful to feel that worthiness and knowing that we were made for so much more than what we've been living for. But what I want to address and what you want me to address is the fact that, what people don't see when it comes to these transformation stories a lot of times is the work that went into getting to that particular point. And like I said, when I first started to introducing myself, I had been studying personal transformation and personal achievement for over 20 years. So that's the part you didn't see. The 20-year student of getting from, here to boom, now I'm starting to get results. There are people out there who have a much shorter lead up time to their personal transformation, and you haven't seen the 20 years it took to get there. I didn't grow up as a fat kid. I was one of those kids who was able to eat just about anything, and people were like, gosh, where do you put it? I'm like, I don't know. Do I have a hollow leg maybe, But I was so active. I was so active in my life that my metabolism physically, was in high gear at all times. But I always turned to food for comfort. See, that's something I'd never realized until I started to become less active. That food for comfort there was a trigger in my mind when I would feel upset, depressed, whatever, down, low, sad, lonely. That has been a big challenge in my life always, even though I'm very sociable and have a lot of friends. You could be around a lot of people and still feel lonely. And so I had that a lot in my life. And I don't know, maybe it had to come with maybe some abandonment issues, that sort of thing. But, when you feel lonely, this is a weird thing. When you feel lonely, and I heard this on the radio today, when you feel lonely, you actually retreat, which compounds the problem. This is really, really weird. So I had a lot of that growing up, and I would always turn to food. And I could eat so much, and I never saw the negative results of eating so much. But when I became less active as I got older, all of a sudden I started to see those results. And those results were really
jump on that real fast, Brad, because I have a lot of clients or people that are coming to me wanting consults that say, I don't really know what's changed. It's just because I'm getting older, my hormones are changing, or my thyroid, or my this, or my that. And what I really want to just emphasize in what you just said is that, no, the emotional issue was there all along. Turning to
Yeah.
food for comfort was there all along. It's just finally to the point now where you're ready to heal it. You're ready to move through it. You're ready to release it. You're ready to let it go. So it's manifesting in front of your face as a red flag saying, hey, pay attention to me here, because your body and your spirit really want you to be free. They want you to be happy. And when you
Mhm.
can start seeing all the negativity in your life as contrast showing up to support you in really growing, expanding, and shifting, really wanting to support you, even getting clearer on what you really want, which what you really want is to live completely free of like needing food to feel good or needing, another person to feel validated or worthy. And so I have people come to me all the time wanting to treat me like a nutritionist, and they're like, hey, tell me about this supplement or that supplement, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, certainly we can set up some things to support you chemically. Let's do that. And we get to really dive in and get to the core of that emotion, that root that is feeding the problem of to feel good, whether it's
Exactly.
eating food for some people, or other people it's, shutting in, like you said, withdrawing, the loneliness, or, people, binging on Netflix or whatever it is that their go-to escape from life is, then we really get to dig in and address that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, I was just, as you're saying there, I was kind of like recounting in my mind a few things that I wanted to touch on that point of growing up as far as feeling that loneliness. There actually came a time before I even heard of The Secret, or before I even started studying personal transformation and achievement, that I knew the secret. It was like thinking myself thin. It was really weird. I just gotten out of the Marine Corps, and it's amazing what the military can do for you when you put your mind in order like that. But I had just gotten in the Marine Corps, and I still had this ability to eat a lot of different foods that I enjoyed, and still stay thin, even though I wasn't as active. And people were like, what's your secret? And I was like, I think thin. I think thin. I know it sounds silly to say, well, you can think yourself so that you don't gain weight, but it's true, because there are a lot of things that I started to do based on that thought that that would get me to the point where I was still thin. And again, somewhere along the way, I let life happen to me, as opposed to, responding to different situations, and I lost that. So it's kind of interesting, I think, because even though we study these things, it comes down to knowledge, having the knowledge and applying it. But you always have to keep that in front of you. That's the point I'm trying to make, is you always have to keep that study in front of you, because if you let it go, it's not like riding a bike where it's like, boom, you get back on 15 years later and you still know how to ride a bike. You have to repeat and repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat, and constantly build it upon, your previous actions if you want to grow. I
Yeah.
just got to a point right now where I stopped wanting to grow. I started taking the easy way out. Naturally negativity is the easy way out. It's the lazy person's choice.
Hmm.
Positivity is hard. It requires work. You know.
It requires focus. Well, especially at first. I want to hit home on that, because
Yeah.
at first you are reprogramming.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would agree with me in this. And it is much easier to think yourself thin and to think positively now than even 8 months ago. Now this is becoming your new norm. Now this is becoming the new habit, when you
That's a
are
good point.
conditioned from
Mhm.
childhood to live in lack mentality or doubt or fear or negativity. It is your normal. It is your default. But I do honestly believe that, and I know this for myself, and I've seen this, my clients experience this as well, we can begin to reprogram our default go-to thought process to be one that supports us, to be the one that's, the default is positive. And I love what Brad is saying. Keep the study in front of you. Keep it there. I see it just like hygiene. You don't shower once a year, right? You don't do one personal development seminar a year and then check the box. It becomes a way of being somebody that you are. Like, a lot of people want to do a diet or do a cleanse and think that it's something they can just go do and check the box and they're done, when it really is more about becoming. And while we're talking, if you guys have any questions, please post them below. I'm going to turn some time over to you guys in just a minute to ask Brad some questions. But I'd love to have you elaborate on that right now. We've talked about it before, but where, it's a lifestyle, the eating, especially when we're looking at that example, but in everything. Like being a seeker of knowledge and personal development is a way of being. It's something we get to become. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And then the second follow-up question on that would be, what's your number one piece of advice for people listening right now that want to begin closing the gap between what they know and then what they actually do, how they actually implement into their life?
Okay. Yes. Both great questions. Remind me of the second question if I don't get there quick enough, because I know we're on limited time. But as you can see, I'm in my car right now, and I'm so glad I'm here because I want to use this as a visual. I call my car my studio, so to say, my studio of learning, my mobile university, if you will. And I think it's so important to use every what do you call it? Non-thinking moment to actually fill your mind with positivity. So when you're in the car, what do most people do? The first thing they do when they get in the car, besides turn the key and start driving, right? A lot of people reach for the radio. They reach for the radio and they let the radio choose what it is that's their mind is going to be filled with. Well, I do that, but I also have a particular station I listen to that I know is 100% positive music all the time, every time. Plus, I also have certain CDs that I pop into my my console here to listen to when I need that verbal, just the regular verbal, no music, regular verbal learning experience. Think and Grow Rich is pretty much in my console every single time I get in the car. So if I want to like pop on and listen to Napoleon Hill, give me some major magical knowledge, then that's what I do. Is basically turning those moments of when you're not really like seeking information, just make it like a subconscious reprogramming in that particular sense. That's been huge in my life. Remind me of the second question again, so now I can focus on that.
Well,
and that
you actually didn't answer the second question. The first question, well, a little bit. So basically, what it sounds like your number one piece of advice would be to turn your life into a university, right? To really be constantly learning and growing. And like, I love the idea of creating your car to be a mobile university. But the question I had was, I just wanted your comments on not doing a diet, but rather than like, oh, I'm going to go do a personal development seminar versus I'm just going to be a person that's always developing themselves. Does that make sense? Kind of moving from diet to lifestyle.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I did answer the second question first. So yeah, where did that shift happen? And how does that shift happen? I guess is what you're asking. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, the shift really happens deep inside of you emotionally, and it just comes from a core belief of identification and how you identify yourself. That's why I remember, like I said, I remembered that earlier. So I really think that's the core, the starting point that everybody needs to start at. So we're bridging the gap between studying this stuff and turning your car into a mobile university, even if you're doing those things and you're putting that knowledge into your head and it's in there and it has its own little box and everything. If you don't ever open that box and use it, it's powerless, right? So the power comes from finding your reason why you need to change. That's, I think, the biggest missed gap everybody misses altogether. And the reason why nobody takes action is they don't have a strong enough reason. Speaking of Napoleon Hill, I listened to his CD, and he talks about a white, hot, burning desire. I mean, think about what it means to be white hot. Okay, when you say the words "I am worthy" and get goosebumps, that's when you know you're white hot, right? So it's really all about feeling and tapping into your emotional state. It takes practice. It does, because people are like, well, how do I feel gratitude by saying I'm grateful for XYZ? How do I tap into that practice? I was just watching another video today about this kid who was trying to practice some boxing moves, and he started crying, and his dad was like, "Why are you crying, son? Why are you crying?" And the kid says, I don't believe I can do it. I don't believe in myself. He says, listen, Einstein wasn't born with the theory of relativity in his head already, right? He just stuck with working on that problem longer than everybody else would. Right. So the same thing with tapping into your emotional availability is just stick with it and suck that's white hot burning desire of just trying to get into your emotional availability. You're going to actually tap into it, and just, boom, it's going to happen. I don't know how else to explain it other than the fact that you're going to have to just keep sticking with it until you are okay. I'm in this emotional state. I have the goosebumps. Now I understand what that feels like. Once you understand what it feels like, remember it. Remind yourself about how that feels and remember it.
Mm-hmm. So you're getting a little fuzzy for a second. I'm hoping your connection's going to get better again. But what I would love to do right now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to go for a minute while we wait for your connection to get awesome again. So what I'd love to do right now is to talk to you guys about what it is that we're really about here and what it is that we do. So, and I'm excited to make this announcement about how Brad is going to be joining the Legacy team and what that looks like. So Legacy Living Inner Circle is my elite group coaching program. That's a monthly membership program where you get access to a lot of deep dive content, information, and coaching with me. So I'm going to describe for you guys what it looks like a little bit and then tell you the yummy bonus that's being added here by bringing Brad on as one of our Legacy accountability coaches. So this is how it works right now. Right now, every month in Legacy Living Inner Circle, there is a big mastermind 1-hour deep dive with me, coaching content around all sorts of different topics. This last month, we talked about the laws of creation and the self-love formula. Next month, we're talking all about creating an external brain to really assist you in being even more efficient and effective in the things that you're creating and really applying all the information that you're learning. Overwhelm is one of the major opportunities for growth that we see with our clients, because our clients are entrepreneurs, leaders, influencers that have a busy schedule, that have demands on their time, that have these different spheres of family and work and opportunity that they're trying to really juggle. So when we look at that, creating this external brain is really going to be fun to talk about. So we have a deep dive mastermind every month. We have 2 group coaching calls with me, and in those calls, different people come on. It's an hour long, and we do some breakthroughs, breakdowns. It's a really awesome transformational experience. In addition to that, there's a weekly behind-the-scenes videos with me, where basically if you guys see the stuff that I put out on Facebook, I take it a whole another layer deeper and really sharing the key implementable action steps to create the change and the shifting happening really powerfully. So it's a really fun, powerful community. And what we're adding to that now additionally, and everyone in Inner Circle gets grandfathered into any new courses and material that I release, which is super exciting. So now what we're adding in addition to that is weekly accountability coaching. And this is an opportunity for the people in Inner Circle to have somewhere to check in with every week and to be sure that they're really implementing the stuff that they're learning and they're closing that gap between what they know and then what they're actually doing. And then on the coaching calls, having the shifting around the beliefs and, the stories of it has to be hard, it has to be settled and sacrificed. So Brad is joining us as one of our amazing Legacy Living, we're so excited, accountability coaches to assist and support our Inner Circle even more. So for those of you who'd love more information on that, because of this announcement, we're so excited to have Brad here. If you want to reach out to Brad, we're going to do kind of a special bringing him on board. When you join Legacy Living Inner Circle, through Brad, so message Brad, you actually get your choice of one of my programs that I already have. So you can choose my Mind Body Transformation course, the 12-week shifting program. It's a $3,000 program. You could choose the Time Freedom course, which is all about really shifting your relationship with time, or the 21-day mental cleanse. So you get one of those completely gifted to you for free when you join if you reach out and join with Brad. So awesome. I wanted to just add that extra juicy, yummy insight for you guys. We're really excited to be adding him to the Legacy team and excited to be growing Inner Circle to where we get to bring on all these other coaches to really assist and support the transformation. So anyways, what are your thoughts about the group coaching program and Inner Circle and what you see its ability to, how it can serve people, Brad?
Oh, wow. I mean, accountability is so huge in being able to continue. You need a support system. You really do. I know I needed one. Part of my daily affirmation when I was seriously starting on this physical transformation side of me.
All right, Brad, we're losing you. So for those of you who are still with me, we're just going to close out this episode of Legacy Living TV. I want to remind all of you that you are powerful creators and that Rome wasn't built in a day. So really just focusing on making your next choice your best choice and realizing that you truly can conquer mountains. You guys are getting to see my lovely background here. You can conquer mountains one step at a time. If you're curious about Legacy Living Inner Circle and you would love to join us, reach out to Brad. He will assist you. Below in the comments, I have a link to our free League of Living Legacies group where you can get more insight, juicy content, and inspiration delivered straight to you daily. So jump on over there and enjoy that experience. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. Go out there and live your legacy.